Hi everyone, this is a reference on how to draw speech bubbles and containers for text for storyboarding comics assignment. Um, let's talk about the different tools as a general. I'm going to say a lot because I haven't really written this down in a process. I'm just doing it after having a chat with the students. So if I ramble a little bit, I'm sorry. I'm just trying to keep track of things. Okay, so basically when we're creating a font, a text of some sort, the font tool is very handy. Okay, so font tool is generally set up. Now, if you're got a lot of font options built in, I tend to go with whatever whatever I have because I have a few installed, but I also go to dafont.com, dafont.com, is a good resource for fonts. My computer's going to beep a little bit because the student's sending me messages, and Discord and running classes online and recording tutorials at the same time is a bit of a pain in the bum, but let's deal with that. Okay, so if I'm adding any text in here, I generally do it, you can click and then you can just start typing, but what you really want to do is probably draw a text box depending on the size of that. Okay, see there's a default setup when you do that, and you can adjust from there the size proportion of the font. Now I'm going to go for a reasonably large font. I'm going to set it to size 18, and you can do that up here when you got the text selected. Okay, Control A, or you can do it over here at the side and you can control it there. So I'm going to set this to half that size, 18, and line distance apart is going to be 18 also. Okay, I'm going to change the font to Web Letterer. Now yours doesn't have to be Web Letterer, you might have found a different font that you're preferring to use, but you can sort of see it laid out. You can see if I type in there, Control A, B. Oh no, Batman! And you can see it. You're not going to survive this nefarious scheme. I'm not sure why it came in so large. I'm going to put that back down to 18 again. 18 and 18. And you can see that it's split along lines. Now, you may discover a section where the text is broken up with a hyphen. Okay, you can set it to -8 and it will try and fit the shape that you're going to do. You might do that if you're trying to justify it to a certain width. And you can see that here. You can see trying to fit it within a box. But you can see that justifying sort of tries to spread words out in a weird way. Okay, so I tend to go text in the center, and I might space it out. However, you can see that I have broken it up into various lines as well. So I might have it as a font block, but you can see that I pressed enter deliberately to space these out. Okay, and you can do that manually if you like. So, but that gives me a nice round shape, implying that I'm probably going to be using a round text box. Now, if I'm doing any sort of text box, I'm going to use a selection tool. Now, you can use the shape tools, but I tend to use them as setup tools rather than the shape tools themselves. So, for instance, I'll go in with a circular selection tool, and just get it about the size that I need, depending on your drawing, how much space you've allowed for it. Okay, and this will make sense for the font that you're going to do. Keep your font size and style uniform for the entire project. So once you decide on how big it is, make sure it's that big in every frame. I'm going to go to the polygon lasso tool and select, got to hold down shift, click, 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 and you can see that I've done a selection which adds the little arm to the mouth there. Now you can do that freehand as well, especially if you've got curvy lines that you want to go, but I kind of like straight lines, so I'm going to stick with that. And to see my my text box, I'm going to have to change its color, so I'll add that on a new layer and paint it. There we go. Right. Now there's two ways you can do this. Once you've got your font size, that's a pretty good guess in terms of surviving the first time of setting that up. However, I just did it a few minutes ago, so I was pretty good guesstimation in terms of size. If I need to change the size of it, I can always Control T and adjust the text box slightly to give myself some more space. I could probably squash this one a little bit flatter. If I do that, hold down Shift, and I can squeeze it up. There. Squeeze it down. And you can see that fits nicely in there. Okay. If I want to change the size from there, I'll just use the scale tool as a starting point. But if you're going a lot larger, you might want to make a new selection. So say you wanted to do like double the size text box. Start a new one and then draw because you lose detail as you increase in size. To get the outline on it, I'm going to Control D to deselect so you can see the box itself. And I'll hit the FX tool in the bottom corner. Hit that, and I'll add a stroke modifier to it, giving me an outline. Now I've already set this up to size 8, opacity 100%, position inside, or I could do outside. It does make a difference to the size of your shape. Center's a good position, okay, and want to fill type, color, change that. So say you could create text boxes specifically in shades of different colors if you need to talk about different characters talking, especially if you're doing like a narrative shape and you're used to showing a character in a certain color. It's a good way of breaking up and making things easy to understand. Okay, once you've got that, okay. Yeah. Now, say for instance you want to change the shape of that. You could do it as a square marquee, okay, and manually cut it off. And the way I did it previously was I just went in with the freehand lasso tool, held down Alt, and I can cut corners off. And you can see that I've got a lot of control over how that works. And same thing. Oh, and say you want to droopy things, let's do that as well. So go hold down Shift and I can add in. Gives them a bit more of a freehand effect. Control D. So if you want to do clouds, of course, if you're doing thought bubbles, it would work like that. Now, forgive the beeps in the background. Right, so the next task is I'm going to what else did I do? Oh, basic shapes. So you could use the basic shape tool if you wanted to, and you could set it, say you wanted a real rounded rectangle, you could do it that way. Okay, with your settings for your rounded rectangle. Okay. And, right. And you want to no, not do that. You want to use that as a selection. So once you've built your basic shape, you can hold down Control and click on it and create your selection out of that. So that way I can turn off that layer, go to the layer that I was working on. I'll add the polygonal lasso tool and hold down Shift, click, 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 and then paint it. And you get a pretty good one without having to worry about changing the shape and adjusting things. So, yeah, you've got lots and lots of potential options. Now, I've done mine pink so you can see them, but generally you can make it, you know, whatever color you like, whatever shape you like, and work along those lines. Okay, cool. I'm going to stop that tutorial and let you get back to doing some drawing, and hopefully this will be uploaded for you guys shortly. So